From a new round of tariffs to a tumultuous couple of days on Wall Street, it's certainly been another week of political actions from President Trump and his administration. So to try to recap it, try to keep track of everything, let's bring in Politico reporter Nicholas Wu. Nicholas, it's always good to see you. It's literally, I mean, just from word of what's been happening in the intelligence community and the generals to the tariffs and the stock market, I will ask you, how are you keeping on top of things? What are you following today?
Well, it's been an incredibly crazy week. I think I'll be watching today for the continued fallout from the tariffs that the president instituted on April 2nd, what we call Liberation Day, and seeing whether as markets continue to tumble, whether this is something that really moves the needle among Republican members of Congress.
When it comes to that, it's interesting, and you bring up the members of Congress, right? Everyday Americans seem to be like, okay, I'm feeling this, right? You have to wonder at some point if members of Congress are going to have that same, either feel it themselves or hear from their constituents who are feeling it, or if this is the kind of thing that you just try to ride out as long as they possibly can and hope and trust and believe.
Yeah, I mean, for now, they're maybe not feeling it quite yet, but looming ahead of us is, over the next couple of weeks, members of Congress are going to head home to their districts over Easter recesses, and some will hold town halls, and they're likely to hear a lot of very heated commentary from their constituents when they're back.
China, the first to announce their retaliation tariffs this morning, essentially equaling what the U.S. put out there. Have you heard from anybody else or that any other nations may do the same?
I'm still waiting to see what other information comes out there on more tariffs, but with the United States putting up more trade barriers, it stands to follow that a lot of other countries will as well.
I was looking through Playbook this morning, and it just seems to be more and more intense every day as there's more to keep track of, right? But obviously, we're going at lightning pace here, and one of the latest things is when it comes to the intelligence community, obviously, some people reassigned or let go, and this in addition to what we saw play out earlier this week here locally with, especially Montgomery County, right, with more of the government offices and buildings being shut down. Do you see a reduction in pace at any point soon?
That's unlikely to happen, since what we saw over these past few months were the various cuts, firings across the Trump administration through DOJ, and now we're seeing the more formal reductions in force. Not to mention, yes, throughout the intelligence community last night, there were folks who were fired by the Trump administration for what appears to have been clashes with the president.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think that got a lot of people's attention, right, is that it's how much of this I guess can change at the drop of a hat. And I hate to use that analogy, but it does seem like, we talk about fast news cycles, and it seems like we're in an even faster news cycle than ever. How much of that is the president's doing, or how much of it is people coming to the president and saying, you should take this action?
Well, as they say, right, the president has been flooding the zone, although the question that has been raised of the president in recent days is the degree to which far-right influencers who have gotten FaceTime with him might have affected some of these decisions. It was reported that he met with the conservative activist Laura Loomer right before folks at the NSC were fired.
All right, aside from tariffs, anything else that's got your ear today?
I'll be continuing to watch for the fallout from these special elections that were early in the week. And amid all this craziness, there were also elections in Wisconsin and Florida, and we saw relatively strong Democratic overperformance in those races. And a few days on from that, I'm curious to see how other Democrats down ballot are feeling about that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, you're right, just getting started when it comes to the election cycle, and to see where that goes, if what we saw play out this week carries forward or doesn't. We'll find out soon. But I appreciate it, as always, Politico reporter Nicholas Wu joining us with what he's working on and what the folks at Politico were working on today.